to three parts. Every part has got almost 10 questions in each part. Let us see the questions. Now, the first one, acetylcholine, synthesized by acetylcholine esterase. No. See, the enzyme required for synthesis of acetylcholine is choline acetyl transferase, whereas acetylcholine esterase is required to metabolize acetylcholine. So this option is not correct. Now the next one, action is terminated by reuptake of presynaptic neurons. No, again, this is wrong. Acetylcholine action is terminated by acetylcholine esterase. It is not by presynaptic neurons. No. Next one, acetylcholine is released by some postganglionic sympathetic neurons. Now understand this one. There are certain neurons like the neurons which are going to sweat glands and pilomotor muscles. For these two, the innervation is by sympathetic neurons, but at postganglionic neurons, the neurotransmitter released is acetylcholine. So this is only the different one now. This is the answer related to acetylcholine. But understand it. Let us see the last statement. Acetylcholine reduces the heart rate by acting on nicotinic receptors and SCA node. So acetylcholine reduces heart rate, but not by nicotinic receptors and SCA node. No, this is not correct. So the only one which is answer is acetylcholine is released by some postganglionic sympathetic neurons. Now understand this. This is the only exception. In sympathetic nervous system, the neurotransmitter is noradrenaline or norepinephrine. Only exception is at sweat and pilomotor muscles. That is the reason why it is known as sympathetic cholinergic. Cholinergic. See, all options looks a little bit confusing, but the answer is C. Understand the concept. So they are called as sympathetic cholinergic and they innervate sweat glands and pyromotor glands. Though they are sympathetic, the neurotransmitter released is acetylcholine. So option C is the answer. Now let us see the second one. Now the sympathetic system. Now see, it is explaining, options are explaining about the sympathetic system. Has short postganglionic neurons. No. See, sympathetic system, if this is brain and spinal cord, the system has got very close to spinal cord. There are certain ganglions out there through which sympathetic nervous system passes. So a short preganglion is there, but postganglion is the longer one. So this is how it is. Postganglionic neurons are longer one. What is the first option? Short postganglionic? No, this is wrong. Let's go to the next one. Fibers are carried in vagus nerve. Again, this is wrong. See, vagus is 10th cranial nerve. Through that vagus nervous system, parasympathetic system comes out. So this is not correct. Now it produces discrete action. Again, this is wrong. There are two different words are there, discrete and diffuse. Discrete system means one preganglionic neuron mostly combines with another postganglionic neuron. So this one-to-one connection is known as discrete. Diffuse means one preganglionic neuron may combine with many postganglionic neurons. This is called as diffuse system. Now, diffuse system is related to sympathetic nervous system, whereas discrete system is related to parasympathetic nervous system. The question is about sympathetic system, so this is also wrong. Now, sympathetic system has a thoracolumbar outflow from the spinal cord. This is true. See, sympathetic system is known as thoracolumbar, whereas parasympathetic is known as craniosacral. The reason is parasympathetic neurons comes from cranial region and sacral region, whereas sympathetic system neurons comes from thoracic and lumbar regions. So the option D is correct here. So for second one, option D is correct. Now the third one, the parasympathetic system now has short preganglionic fibers. Same. So this is about parasympathetic system. In case of parasympathetic system, there will be long preganglionic neurons. So this option is wrong. Now, parasympathetic system control most of the movement and secretions of the gut. This is true. This is through muscarinic receptors. The gut, internal secretions, movement, everything is under the control of parasympathetic system. So this is true. Let us see the other options. Parasympathetic system increases heart rate during exercise. No, this is by sympathetic nervous system, not by parasympathetic nervous system. Next one. Neurotransmitter acts on skeletal muscle. No, see, skeletal muscle responds to somatic nervous system. This is not a part of autonomic nervous system. Sympathetic and parasympathetic are part of autonomic nervous system, whereas somatic nervous system innervates to skeletal muscle system and causes the activation. You have nicotinic receptors there, and neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. But the question is asking about parasympathetic system. This is also wrong. So option C, not option C, option D, controls most of the movements and secretions of gut. This is the right answer. Let's move on to the next question. Now, see, the abundant signaling molecule released from adrenal medulla is. See, you have adrenal gland on the top of kidney. It is called as adrenal gland. Now, the question asks abundant signaling molecule. Understand these words. Abundant means highest amount. Acetylcholine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine. Now, let us understand this one. Imagine this one is a kidney. On the top, you have adrenal gland is there. Now, from the adrenal gland, two molecules releases. One is norepinephrine, and the other one is epinephrine. 80% is epinephrine, 20% is norepinephrine. Both of them are signaling molecules. Both of them cause a lot of changes in many organs. But out of this abundant, highest amount is epinephrine. So the answer here is epinephrine. Understand the wordings, abundant signaling molecule. Both of them are signaling molecules. Again, both of them are released from adrenal medulla, but abundant, the word abundant indicates highest amount. So the answer here is epinephrine, not norepinephrine. Now, the next question. Nicotinic receptors are present on. Now, where do you see nicotinic receptors? Adrenal gland, ganglion, skeletal muscle, all of the above. Now, see, adrenal gland, when the neuron comes, the stimulation is through nicotinic receptors only. Here you have nicotinic receptors are there. In ganglion, you have nicotinic receptors are there. They are denoted as NN, nicotinic neuronal, or in certain textbooks, it is also known as NG, nicotinic ganglion. So it is present on adrenal gland, it is present on ganglia, and on skeletal muscles. All skeletal muscles are innervated by nicotinic receptors. Downregulation of this nicotinic receptor is what causes myasthenia gravis. So answer is all of the above. Okay. Now, which of the following is single neuron system? Now, single neuron system means, understand this thing. See, when you see autonomic nervous system, it is considered as a two neuron system. A preganglionic neuron is there, and then a postganglionic neuron is there. 1, 2 neurons are there. Now, the question is asking about single neuron system. Somatic nerves, nerve to adrenal medulla, both A and B, none. Now, see, this nerve to adrenal medulla directly comes from CNS till here. This is a single neuron system. Similarly to the skeletal muscles also, somatic neuron is a single neuron system. So both, the question is about which of the following is a single neuron system. Both somatic nerves, nerve to adrenal medulla, both of them are single neuron systems. Okay. Now the next one. Autonomic nervous system is in the control of medulla oblongata, cerebellum, hypothalamus, pons. Remember this, medulla oblongata controls the entire ANS functions. Any damage to medulla oblongata results in ANS discontrol. See, though autonomic nervous system acts autonomously, but it is under the control of CNS. In the CNS, it is medulla oblongata. So option A is correct here. Now the next one. Now, the second messenger involved in inotropic effect of noradrenaline is. Now understand this one. See, we have first messengers and second messengers. Most of the receptors are present on. Oh, give me a second. All right. See, I'm sorry. The answer here is hypothalamus, not the medulla oblongata. I'm sorry. See, for 7th question, autonomic nervous system is in the control of hypothalamus, not medulla oblongata. I'm sorry. So the answer is hypothalamus here. Now, next one. See, the second messenger involved in inotropic effect of noradrenaline is. See, most of the receptors are present on cell membrane. You take ion channel receptors or G protein coupled receptors or tyrosine kinase receptors. So whatever the drug comes acts on these receptors outside the cell. This is considered as first messenger. Whether it is a drug or whether it is a internal ligand. Now, drug stays outside and the information passed into the cell. Certain molecules comes generated inside and they act as second messengers. So this is how the drugs will act. Now the question is about the second messenger involved in inotropic effect of noradrenaline is. Now noradrenaline will be acting on alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2 receptors. Now see, look at the options here. Inotropic effect. Now inotropic effect is what? Contraction of heart. The force of contraction of heart. Now, force of contraction of heart, this effect is shown by beta 1 receptor. Now, beta 1 will be acting on alpha S subunit of G protein coupled receptor. So, it is called as GS effect. GS subunit effect. Now, GS, when G protein GS type is activated, it increases adenylate cyclase activity. When adenylate cyclase activity is increased, it releases cyclic AMP. So the answer here is cyclic AMP. See, don't get confused. Second messenger, cyclic AMP, inositol triphosphate, diacylglycerol, calcium, all of them are second messengers. But the question specifically asks about inotropic effect. Inotropic effect is shown on heart, which is through beta 1 receptor. See, both beta 1 and beta 2 acts on GS type of G protein coupled receptors. GS type of G protein coupled receptor activates adenylate cyclase. So that increases the levels of cyclic AMP. So the answer here is answer A, option A. The next question, the system required for long-term survival of humans. See, this is there from intermediate in BPC, students will read this. We have two different systems are there, autonomic nervous systems, cholinergic, adrenergic. Now understand the responses. Cholinergic responses are considered as SLUDD. Salivation, lacrimation, urination, digestion, defecation. Whereas adrenergic system responses are known as fight or flight responses. Now the question asks about which is required for long-term survival. Now look at this, out of parasympathetic system, one of the response is digestion. Why do we eat? When we eat, food will get digested. From that, you get glucose. From the glucose, we get ATP, and ATP is required for our survival. So if this is not there, this won't be there, and our survival is not possible. So the option here is cholinergic system is required for our survival. There is an experiment which is conducted on frog, wherein adrenergic system, in one frog, adrenergic system is removed. Still it survived. Whereas in another frog, they removed cholinergic system, it has died. So that indicates for survival, this is required. Cholinergic system is required. Now the last one, which of the following inhibits vesicular transport of dopamine? And now understand this thing. See, at the end of neuron, biosynthesis of norepinephrine occurs. Tyrosine is converted to DOPA. DOPA is converted to dopamine. And this dopamine gets inside a vesicle. This dopamine gets inside a vesicle. Now the question is asking about this one. Which drug inhibits this? This transport is inhibited by which drug? Metyrosine is a false neurotransmitter. It will not inhibit vesicular transport. Reserpine inhibits this step. Reserpine, Rauwolfia serpentina from. And cocaine is reuptake inhibitor. Amphetamine is a mixed agonist. It acts on receptors as well as it inhibits reuptake. So the answer here is reserpine. So reserpine is the one which inhibits vesicular transport of dopamine. What happens is, see, if this is the neuron end, dopamine gets into the receptor. There is a reason for that. Inside the receptor, dopamine is converted to norepinephrine. The reason why it is getting inside the neuron is inside you have certain enzymes are there in the neuron. They are monoamine oxidases. They will metabolize dopamine as well as norepinephrine. To escape metabolism from monoamine oxidase, it gets into this vesicle. So this is inhibited by reserpine. So when reserpine, actually what happens is reserpine replaces, it gets inside and norepinephrine comes out and it gets metabolized. So when there is a signal transmission or stimulation, the vesicle comes out and releases reserpine instead of norepinephrine. This is the reason why reserpine causes a long-term depression. So that's why reserpine use is not encouraged nowadays. It is not being used. So these are all the first set of 10